So I guess, without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. The first sport we're going to be ranking is wrestling. Wrestling. Honestly, I don't know too much about wrestling. Um, it is pretty like a primal sport, so that definitely gives it a boost. I think everybody has been in their share of fights. Either was it a friend or actually somebody trying to get hurt, and that would be the most realistic fight that you get to have when you're like not very skilled at fighting. You can only really go for go underground. I mean, not underground. What am I talking about? You can go, for somebody's leg or something. That's generally how real fights tend to go, at least when you're a kid. So it is one of the most primal and basic things out there. Nothing too special. Nothing really excites me about it. Um, I don't really feel any sort of glory when it comes to it. I would put it at a C tier. Honestly, I don't know what this one is. It could be volleyball. I don't see another volleyball, so I'm just gonna imagine that this is volleyball. Overall, volleyball is I think it is a fun sport. I'm not gonna say like it's an amazing sport or anything like that, but it is one of the most underrated sports, I have to say. When you kind of think of those big sports like basketball, football, American football, baseball, badminton, all those, those great and worldwide famous sports. Um, Volleyball could be in that category, but just, by happenstance or what have you, it hasn't really been there. So for that reason, I would put it in a B tier. I'm not a huge fan of it personally. This is airsoft, the shooting range. Very similar, I think, to wrestling. In a way, it is you could almost consider it not a real sport, but I'm going to consider everything a sport on this. Yeah, so shooting range, I think, I'm not a fucking like European or whatever. People can, I am from Europe, but I'm not going to hate on any American for shooting out, like, kill somebody or something like that. I mean, you can kill animals if you want, as long as you don't kill a human. It's fine in my book. And for that reason, a low C tier. Just doesn't excite me as much as the other things, especially because like you're not the one ultimately like doing the shot, it's your gun. And I feel like there's a lot of like luck involved, or that's at least what I think sometimes is involved with airsoft in these shooting ranges. You know what I mean? American football. I'm just gonna imagine this is American football. I don't know exactly what this is. That's what I also imagine American football is, but there's nothing really else. I'm just gonna imagine this. Overall, in America it's overrated, and it's over here in Europe it is underrated. We don't have any appreciation of this sport. But from what I see, I don't watch it too much, believe it or not. But from what I see, it is generally pretty, pretty good. But yeah, um, in that case, oh, sorry guys, I'm just closing my thing. In that case, yeah, B tier I think for me. Honestly, nothing too crazy, nothing, archery. It's just I don't like watching these. Like, I know it takes a lot of time and effort. I just don't like watching these sports. Like, it doesn't seem that fun. And I've been doing a little bit like archery play like once in my life or something like that. It's just not fun to watch. It's not really that fun to do. I think you have to be sort of mechanically minded in order to to appreciate this. If does it take a lot of skill? Yeah, I guess. Which that's why I put it in D tier, but just nothing really crazy. I think this is American football too, so just put it with the same one. Okay, Austrian football rules. Honestly, I do not know what this is. I'm just gonna put it here, not because it's not an actual sport. I just don't know it. Well, is this like throwing knives? I think I'm gonna put it the same tier, just a bit higher, like throwing axes, because it is kind of a cooler. It does have that sort of niche factor. that kind of makes it a bit upper, and it is like throwing knives, which I think is a lot more fun and more fun to watch than watching like archery. So yeah, badminton. Badminton is honestly, it's not that. I don't know. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me. I understand. There's a lot of badminton fans out there. There's a lot of badminton content out there, and I think it is like one of the what's it called? Like I think it's one of the sports. This is kind of the same thing with ping pong, where the physicality doesn't really matter as much as, let's say, the skill, um, which is, it's a little plus, which is why I'm not going to put it in absolute F or D tier. Just, I think I'm just putting it in C tier. Baseball can be very, very boring at sometimes, but those last like two innings, it is really, really fun to watch, honestly. And yeah, I think it's overall a pretty fun sport, especially now that they changed the rules. Not change the rules, but change how the game operates, which makes it a lot funner. And for that reason, we're gonna put it in a high B tier. And I'm sure whenever you play the game, I think when you play the game, it's a lot more fun than actually watching it. It just feels fun. It just feels fun catching bases. Feels fun swinging the ball. It's just an overall a pretty good time. Basketball, another classic, honestly. Maybe a little bit like too overrated, but for obvious reasons. And it's not getting an S tier because it's kind of lacking a couple of elements that you're going to discover a little bit later that makes the truly greatest sports great. And the thing that makes really amazing sports amazing is which kind of basketball does have, is the fact that you can do this anywhere. The only thing that basketball has, you need to get a hoop in order to play. But overall, besides all that, it is a class sport, and it is a pretty fun sport to play. Also, little caveat, I think also why it's not an S tier is that there is a huge physical difference when it comes to people who play the sport. If you're small, I'm not saying you can't win, but it's a lot harder for you to win. So there's obviously sort of height advantage. And that's, I think, what's keeping it just from S tier as opposed to other sports, which don't have that as much. Noting as much as billiards, it's just boring. I don't know. Like, it doesn't fascinate me. It doesn't, like, these things don't enthrall me. We're putting this in F, and we're gonna put this one in D. It just doesn't fascinate me. It doesn't enthrall me. I don't know why billiards is such a big sport. It doesn't, like, I played it a couple times. It is fun. It just doesn't. These other sports, they just get me motivated. I'm so happy, even if I'm not a fan of them. I'm just happy to see people play and excel at this sport. But this one just doesn't do it for me. This is some form of what I'm imagining is jujitsu. No, sorry, not jujitsu. Taekwondo, I believe. That's one of the one you're on the ground. Don't quote me on that one, but whatever the sort of karate, martial arts type sports where you do it on the ground. I think it's going. I like this sort of thing. I think it is pretty similar to wrestling. I just prefer it a little bit more. There's more technique, and I just feel it's more fun to watch, and it's more fun to practice. This is another thing that a lot of people have done. This is mountain biking. I have never mountain biked in my life, but fuck, this looks really fun. This looks really, really fun to watch and to do. And it looks pretty like, feats of, sort of maneuvering the whole obstacle course. And sort of the risk of it, too, makes it a lot greater. So for that reason, let's put in B tier. What the fuck is this? Is this cheerleading? What is this? Are these like the pyramids? I don't get what this is. I think it's the pyramids. I just put it in here. I don't know what it is. Oh fuck, this just looks so boring. Sorry, not boring. This just doesn't look. I don't know, this snow sledding thing or whatever. They made a Disney movie about it. Okay, great and everything. It just doesn't look exciting. I'm gonna put a bit above because there is like sort of this. I bet if you're in there, it looks fun, but from an outsider perspective, not really. So yeah, this is. Oh my God, this is fun. Okay, we'll put this one in C tier. I'll explain. Some of these sports, like billiards, are stuff that you kind of do on a lazy afternoon. When you don't have too much energy, but you just want to have fun. And I think this, I don't know what you call it in English, but you call it in French, it's called like pétanque or something. I'm imagining it's the same thing. The goal of the game is, you have a white ball and you're supposed to take your, with the black balls and, I mean, with colored balls, you're supposed to throw it there and you're supposed to be the first one that connects it the most. This is not I mean, nobody's going to watch this. Nobody's going to look at this during the Olympics, or nobody's going to go crazy, whoever wins. Somebody's going to celebrate. But it is a pretty fun game, a pretty chill game, a sort of background game if you're like, you're talking with friends or, sipping down a couple of brewskis. It is fun from time to time. I wouldn't play this for the rest of my life, but, good little pastime. Bodybuilding, and I think this is like sort of the showcase bodybuilding. Some of you would probably like, you trolls would probably say it's not a sport or whatever at all. Um, it's not fun to do, but I think it is something that everybody should do. Get into some sort of bodybuilding thing. To watch it, it's not amazing. I mean, it's I don't know. A lot of people, hit the gym and everything like that. I think I'm just gonna put it in not a real like sort of sport, just because it's too like difficult to class. Because nobody's really like people are competing, but they're not competing in the actual like activity itself. They're competing in the preparation before the activity. But everybody should go to the gym and everybody should try to get jacked in their life. There's no denying about that. But it's just not a real. I wouldn't say it's. I'm not going to declass it or anything like that. It's just not a real sport. Bowling. Bowling is a fun time with some friends, and I think it's a lot more fun than um, this game. But the only problem is you need to go somewhere to do it, and that's a huge factor in my ranking about these games. Is if you can you do this anywhere, and can you do this like relatively cheaply? That's not the case with bowling. You need to go to a particular space to do it. I will give it plus for the vibe that it creates around the sport, and it's not. I mean, it's not overly expensive, and for that reason, I think overall for the vibe and the fun times you generally have, B tier. Boxing. I got into boxing recently, and it's really really fun. The only problem is the damage. And the reason why it's on S tier. To watch it is one of the most fun, in my opinion, one of the most fun sports to watch, even if you're not into boxing. I think the same thing goes with the UFC. To watch like the talent and what these people like go through is amazing. I mean, there's a reason why the Rocky movie is so successful, and the reason is because it's just fun to watch. It's like kind of primitive caveman like thing. Like we just watch two people like almost like duke it out and then see whoever comes out on top. To do, it's really fun. The only problem is if you do it, um, I mean, you can theoretically do it anywhere, but the problem is the damage that comes with sparring. There's been normals of whatever videos on it on the topic, and I'm not going to be the first one to throw my hand in, but you can get some sort of brain damage, which is not great. There are some other sports where you can do for your whole life, and you don't really you get injured, but you don't get like mentally injured, which is a problem, which keeps it ahead from S tier. But to watch, if it was just purely based on watching the sport, I think it would be an S tier, and I think it would probably be my favorite. Um, kayaking is fun. I think. I did it, as a sort of recreational thing. I think a race would be pretty fun. It is sort of pretty classic, and rowing I think is rowing, just not that amazing. There's just something that's kind of missing there that keeps it like at an amazing spot. I like climbing. Climbing, I've done climbing a couple times in my life. Honestly, really, really fun. Uh, we're giving it a high, and I'm talking like we're gonna we're gonna bump a couple down. We're gonna bump a couple down, so you have a more cohesive list. Climbing, it is super fun, and I'm taking like. And the thing is that you can either do it sort of in expert mode where you put your life at risk and then you have an immense like sort of adrenaline rush, or you can do it. You can go to a gym, a climbing wall gym, and then you do it under like protection. So you can kind of choose whichever one you want to do, which is another like huge plus to the activity in general. Second sort of plus is that it is one of the few sports where it is like sort of inwards. You have to conquer something, and then that kind of brings you know that you did it, and it's not just some guy who helped you along. And there's no like chance in it. Like every time you if you messed it up and you fell up a climb, it is entirely your fault. So, but due to the fact that like you can pretty much, I mean, the thing is, the only problem is you need to find a mountain to do it, but that isn't like super hard to find. Or if not, you go to a climbing wall gym, which everybody should have access to, I think. It just is something there that just keeps it away, and I think that is the fact. It's kind of the positive and the negative. The positive is that it's entirely you who's in control of this. Like it's you who decides you're gonna get it here or not. That's a good thing for yourself, but it doesn't really bring camaraderie as opposed to these other sports. Cricket, cricket. I have not played cricket a lot, but it just doesn't seem fun, doesn't it? It just seems like I guess a little bit less than baseball. Where do we put baseball? We put baseball here. Okay, we'll put it here. Okay, just for the Indians in the comments. You love cricket, guys. Put it here. Not amazing. Not my favorite. I don't know what this is. Is this hockey? Hockey honestly looks really fun and a lot more fun to watch than some of these other sports. Yeah, let's put it in the high. Let's put it here. Obviously, it looks really fun to watch, and putting in the net requires some skill, some maneuvering, and also the bonus factor that it is on ice, and that means you have this extra thing where you need to do it on ice. It is amazing, great sport. Just a couple of things missing it for it to be an A and S tier. Cycling is a sort of. I mean, it's just cycling. It's nothing like amazing. It's just cycling, and I fucking hate cyclists. Whenever I walk down the street, I have like 15 guys trying to fucking hit me and slaughter me down. It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. It's not very fun to do. I mean, why bike when you have a car? You know what I'm saying? All these West European American haters, they love cycling for some reason. Yeah, whatever. You lose some calories. It is good for the city, but what what you gain when running people over? You know what I'm saying? Dancing, um, just to piss the bikers off, I'm gonna put dancing above them, just because I fucking hate bikes. Motorbiking is a different, a different beast entirely. This shit is so fun and enthralling to watch. I haven't watched too many, I have to say, but it is such a fun thing to watch. Just the feats of nature of these people is amazing. Whatever, it's fun to watch. There's no denying that. A couple things missing it from being to A tier, but it is still pretty good. Um, yeah, and you need to have the whole equipment, which kind of makes it bad. I don't know what the fuck this just looks. I don't know what this is. This looks really mid. Is this frisbee? I'm sorry. I'm just putting. I don't know what this is. Swimming. Honestly, I think I prefer swimming a lot more just because it is a sort of aquatic thing. You know what? The more I say about it, more like I think I'm gonna bump it up. I think I'm gonna bump it up to C tier. It is a aquatic based thing, which kind of adds a sort of different variation to it. It isn't just running, which we were all designed to do. It is swimming, which is a completely like sort of different like maneuvering that you need to do. And plus, we weren't designed to swim, so people who are fast swimming is even more of a feat of nature. But it still is for me to watch it. It isn't like amazing, and it is the lasting of it is pretty short. But I think everybody should swim, and it isn't amazing. Dodgeball. This is one of the most fun, I think, sports to do. And there's a reason why you sort of do it at recess because it is a for a childlike thing to do, but it's so fun. Um, yeah, just people who like try a bit too hard, it kind of annoys it, but it's perfect for a sort of kid to do. No, obviously on this image it's an adult, but it's a perfect kids game. But if you're past a certain age, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing playing this like kids game? So for that reason, maybe jump it up a little down because if you are like if you're above the age of like 15 and playing this game, it is a bit cringe. I'm not gonna lie. Dog pageantry. I don't get this. It's not the person is not doing any of the work. It's the dog. The dog is ultimately the one that should get the medal.